Okay, I think we're ready.
All right. I call to order this November 23rd, 2020 City Council meeting. Wrap. Unfortunately, we're back into a Zoom mode here, so I'm going to start out by giving a couple of phone numbers or a couple of numbers here. Citizens may participate in citizen comment period by calling at the appropriate time. The phone number 844-844-9200. You'll be prompted to enter an access code. The access code is 398145, followed by the pound sign. You will hear Q&A session has started. Press the star followed by the number 6. You will hear, if you would like to speak, press 1. That would be a good time to press 1. While you're in the waiting room, you'll hear an audio feed of the meeting. Wait until you're prompted by the moderator, then you can share your comments with City Council. Participants are reminded that although the pre-recorded prompts refer to questions, the public hearing and citizen comment portions of the meeting are a time for council to simply hear your comments. Meaning when you speak, we're not going to be able to give you an answer back to your questions if you ask a question. So if you'll share the information you want to share with council, we'll make note of it and we can reply back to you at another time. All right, that brings us to item number 2, which is the adoption of the meeting agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the meeting agenda as presented?
So moved.
That motion.
Who made the move? Terry?
Yeah, I made that motion.
Okay. Terry, and seconded by Dr. Hossetter. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 3 is for our consent agenda. Item number 3 is to consider the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 3 carries 5-0. Item number 4 is matters from the council mayor. I have 2 things I'd like to talk about tonight. The first is we're in the week of Thanksgiving, and on behalf of the entire Waynesboro City Council, and I'm speaking for everyone here, we want to thank every employee of the city of Waynesboro. We've been through a trying time this year. Our employees have come to work each day, or they've had to relocate and work from other places that their homes, that sort of thing, but they're still getting the job done. And our city employees have helped carry us through this pandemic with very little complaint and a lot of things changing in their lives. So on behalf of the City Council, we would like to thank all of our city employees, and we give thanks for each employee and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and hope a safe weekend for you and your families. The second thing, I would like to thank Captain Black from the Fishburne Military School. He invited us up to attend their Veterans Day ceremony this past week. And just so that the citizens of Waynesboro know, this is kind of a little diamond in the rough or a diamond on the hill. It's a 101-year-old private institution, a male institution, but they celebrated Veterans Day, and they did a great job representing all the armed forces, veterans, and they even did a special presentation for the POW and MIA. So I want to thank Captain Black and Fishburne Military School for all you do in the city of Waynesboro. After that, do any other council members have anything they wish to share?
I've got a couple things, Mr. Mayor. The first one is the recognition of the opening of the Crozet Tunnel to the public. I had the opportunity with my family to travel up that way this past weekend, and it's an amazing thing that everyone should take advantage of. It's a hike from the Waynesboro side, almost a mile to the tunnel, and then the tunnel is almost a mile long. So to get through to the other side is a bit of a hike then back to the parking lot. But we had a great time, and it's an amazing piece of engineering, as has been told, and it's great to see it open. And I look forward to that being one of our attractions and one of our draws here in Waynesboro to let people come and see that and enjoy the trail. The second thing, typically the first Tuesday of the month is my sort of open engagement with constituents. I'm trying to figure out how to do that now with bad weather. Well, not bad weather, but cooler weather and COVID restrictions. So I don't know what I'm going to do in December. I will update Julia and she'll put something on the website if people are interested in looking for that as I come up with a plan that I think is workable. And that brings us to the COVID update. As we all know, we're back on Zoom, and that is because of increasing numbers across our state, but even more so across the nation. Waynesboro has not gone unaffected by that. Our numbers have slowly crept up again a little bit. So as we go into Thanksgiving, I'm sure everybody has heard these recommendations, but be wise, protect yourselves, protect each other, and try to avoid large gatherings, because we know that there will be events that spread this virus very quickly. And the fewer large gatherings that we all attend, the less likely that'll affect our community. So that's what I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hostetter. Anybody else have anything?
So a couple of things, Mr. Mayor. I would just remind folks of that to piggyback on Dr. Hostetter's comments at the Blue Ridge Crozet Tunnel opening, truly, truly awesome. Did receive word today that the western entrance, it'll be closed until the 26th of November to do some renovations on the western trail portion, but they hope to have that back open afterwards. I saw a notice today regarding that. And the next is just to celebrate. I saw the construction of the Tractor Supply over on Ludewitt. That's awesome. Great to see more businesses coming to the city. And also just want to extend gratitude to the Blue Ridge Children's Museum. Over the last couple of weeks, they've held a couple of really cool social distance programming for kids. They had a lantern making craft event the other week, and they hosted their that event along the Greenway with some music by the Frontier Culture Museum and donuts and alike for kids. So I just want to extend my appreciation to the Blue Ridge Children's Museum for doing all they can to have meaningful but safe events in the world of a global pandemic. So that's much appreciated.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, let's move on to item number 6. And item number 6 is to receive a presentation from Dr. Kimberly McCallahan, Executive Director of Valley Community Service Board, regarding the agency and the services provided to the community. Ms. Kimberly, you want to unmute and come on board?
Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, I'll provide a brief introduction.
Yes.
But since Dr. McClanahan is relatively new to the area, she joined Valley as our executive director in August of this year, having previously served as the CEO for a large community-based behavioral health organization in Kentucky. That was quite a large organization with more than 500 employees and a budget in excess of $40 million. So we're glad to have her executive experience and talents join us at Valley. Prior to that, Kimberly taught at the college level and supervised clinical activities associated with that instruction, and has significant experience in that area related to pediatric and teen behavioral health interests and care. I'm happy to say, as she made her way to the Valley, that she elected to become a resident of Waynesboro, and we welcome her to our community in that regard. And again, a belated welcome to Kimberly as the executive director. She's joined this evening by Dan Sullivan, also a resident of Waynesboro, who is serving as the chair of our board of directors. So with that, I'll hand it off to Dr. McClanahan. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, you can't see Mr. Sullivan, but he's over here to my right. We're on the same Zoom link. Thank you so much. I have been here in the Valley since August, started August 17th, And we just wanted to have an opportunity to spend just a few minutes talking with you about Valley Community Services Board. Most of you or all of you might be quite familiar with it. Some of you may be new and not as familiar with it. So I wanted to tell you just a little bit about how I understand Valley to have come about and what we do. And you know, the community services boards, and you got a lot of information that I sent along in your hardcover packet. So if you have trouble sleeping at night, you can just kind of look at those annual reports. Those are really about the 40 CSBs in the state of Virginia. We are in statute as the public safety net, and we are the door into the public behavioral health system. We provide, of course, mental health, substance abuse, and developmental disability services. One of the things that is absolutely mandated in law is our emergency services, which we provide many of. And when there's availability of funds, we also are required to provide case management services. Here at Valley, and I believe I did send you a list of the services provided, we do much more than that. And we provide individual group therapies. We work with everybody from birth to 3. We have an infant and toddler program on up until to our seniors. We have a couple of intermediate care facilities, which are actually residences for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And we are in the school system, work within the schools and in people's homes. And so we're just doing a lot of things for lots of folks. In this past fiscal year, 2020, we saw 922 people from Waynesboro. And of those 922 people, we actually provided, and I need my piece of paper here, we provided 19,445 services to those 922 people. So obviously, many of those were folks who had various needs that are ongoing. When you talk about community mental health and you talk about the safety net, you're generally talking about those who have the greatest needs and the fewest resources. And we're talking about those with serious mental illness, children with serious emotional disturbances, chronic substance users, and again, your intellectual and developmental disability group. So the Waynesboro population is about 18% of those we serve, and Valley CSB actually serves 4 localities. We serve Waynesboro, we serve Stanton, we serve Augusta County, and we serve Highland County. So we are pretty spread out, at least when you get out to Highland County. We were out there the other week and it was like quite a ride over, I think, 2 mountains. Yeah, not just 1 mountain, but 2 mountains. It was quite a trip in the dark. So we're just excited to be able to talk with you for a minute about Valley, and I would be happy to answer any questions. One of the things you probably know if you've been a part of the Waynesboro City Council for any amount of time is that part of the statute reads that each of the localities that a CSB serves will supply 10% of the state general funds that is given to the CSB in any given year. That doesn't mean that that means that 10% is divided among the 4 localities and is based upon the size, the number of people seen, the number of services given, that sort of thing. So at some later point in the year or early next year, we will be coming back to you with that ask. We're not here to do that tonight. Just really here to say hello and, just wanted to put some faces with some names. I am excited to be a new, as Mr. Hamp said, a new resident of Waynesboro, and I'm excited to get to talk with you tonight for a few minutes about our services. So I know you have a very large agenda, so I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but if you do have any questions for me, I will be happy to attempt to answer them. And if I can't, I'm pretty good at saying I don't know, or I'll find you the answer. So if there are any questions before we sign off here, I would be happy to try to answer.
Anything for Ms. McClanahan, and I apologize for saying it wrong at the beginning, ma'am.
That is quite all right. It is not uncommon at all.
I don't have as much a question as just a comment and a welcome.
Thank you.
You know, and an endorsement. I've got numerous patients that are engaged over at Valley Community Services, and you truly do fill the gaps and fill the holes and take care of a lot of important issues for folks in the Valley. And so a thank you to what you do and a welcome to the community, and I look forward to meeting up at some point and exchanging notes.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to be here, and I think there are lots of things that Valley does an excellent job of, and even the best agencies can always have room for improvement. And, you know, we are striving to be the very best that we can be. As you know, we're going into our 50th year, so we've been around a long time. So it just hope to keep getting better. Thank you.
And you moved to Waynesboro because you heard we were hospitality in the Valley, right?
Absolutely. And
Not to put you on the
about
spot.
10 miles closer to my daughter and grandchildren than Stanton.
Those are the important reasons. Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation tonight.
Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm going to leave now and let you all get on with
Okay.
it.
All right. We'll move on to item number 7, which is to receive the quarterly financial report for the period ending September 30th, 2020. Mr. McCormick, you want to do this presentation?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Attached for your review is, okay, thanks. Sorry about that. So attached for you all's review is a financial summary through the end of the first quarter of fiscal year 2021. The revenue side of the general fund is in alignment with what we would expect, with property taxes coming in at almost 40% for the year. That's a little bit above the 25% threshold, mostly because the first half of real estate taxes are due during July. The enterprise funds are also tracking as to be expected. Most of those cycles run a month to 2 months behind, so they're a little bit below the 25% level. Worth noting that none of the stormwater bills had been generated at the time that the report in the packet had been issued at the end of September. But the first half of those bills, or because the first half of those bills are not generated until the second quarter, I reviewed those once they were generated, and they do hit the 50% threshold that you'd expect through 2 quarters. So the stormwater fund looks to be in good shape as of right now as well. On the expenditure side, we appear to be on schedule as well. The numbers are slightly above 25% in most of the funds. We do all of our required transfers from fund to fund at the beginning of the year, which makes the first quarter look a little bit heavy, but then it should start to creep back down towards 50 and then 75 and then stay within budget. The last 3 graphs that you all have outline your meal sales and lodging tax. All those items are tracking ahead of the 25% of the budgeted revenues for the first quarter. Sales tax is trending ahead of last year. Meals and lodging continue to lag some from last year, likely due to the impact of COVID-19. They do appear to be on track for budget, but we did cut those items pretty significantly for the adopted budget. We cut meals and lodging by about 20 or 25% and sales by about 10. So they're lagging last year, but sales seems to be trending ahead. I don't have anything else on that, but if you guys have any questions, or if you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
Anyone have anything for Mr. McCormick? Looks like you did a great job, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with no questions, we'll move on to item number 8. That is to consider adopting a resolution amending the city's cafeteria plan as plan pertains to flexible spending accounts for health and dependent care expenses. The amendment is necessary in order to conform with CARES Act. Mr. Hamp. You got to unmute, Mike.
Sorry about that. I apologize. Yes, sir. This evening, the council is asked to Adopt a resolution amending the city's flexible spending account plan, more commonly known as our FSA, to comply with changes required by the CARES Act and associated IRS regulations. The flexible spending account, or FSA, as the mayor read, allows qualifying employees to set aside money on a pre-tax basis to fund qualifying medical and dependent child care expenses. I think the CARES Act provided additional capacity or flexibility within plans, and it's necessary for us to modify our plan in order to come into compliance in that regard. By allowing for or making over-the-counter pharmaceuticals and certain hygiene and care products now eligible, that obviously extends additional benefit to individuals and employees who participate in the plan. So this is largely an effort to bring our local plan into compliance with the CARES Act and associated IRS regulations.
All right, this requires a vote. So do we have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Dr. Hossetter. Is there any discussion before we vote? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item number 9, is to consider introducing an ordinance appropriating fund balance in the net position from fiscal year 2020 to various funds to provide hazard pay and bonuses to our city employees. Mr. Hamp.
Yes, sir. These are hazard pay for eligible employees and bonuses for employees who do not qualify for hazard duty payments as defined by the CARES Act. I think staff considered the opportunity, and what we've noticed in among our peers is that our counties and cities in the area have already implemented these types of hazard duty payments or bonus payments, or are planning to bring these items to their elected bodies for consideration in the next 30 days or so. If you've had the opportunity to consider the agenda briefing, you'll notice that the recommendation structures these payments according to certain categories or groups of employees, and the amount of the payment is based on that categorization. I think, as suggested earlier, not all employees have been required to work in the front lines, so to speak, or in hazardous or risky positions, such as our public safety and first responders. However, all employees have had to make adjustment and accommodation during this difficult time. And for that reason, I think it's appropriate to recommend that they enjoy some benefit of a bonus as well. I think it's important also and compelling to note that because of the COVID impacts on the economy and resulting impacts on the local government's budget, it was necessary to remove all planned raises, some of which were associated, or we had anticipated being associated with improvements to employee compensation resulting from the compensation study. And so with the resulting inability to provide increases to our employees, I think the opportunity to provide a one-time bonus payment becomes all the more important. Our public safety employees will receive a one-time, or it's recommended that they receive a one-time payment of $2,000. Public works field personnel, we commonly refer to these individuals as operations personnel. They're the ones who work largely from the Essex Avenue Public Works operations location, or formerly known as the shops. These are folks who are doing maintenance and repair and construction work on streets, water system, and sanitary sewer, our refuse collector, collections program, stormwater program. Those individuals are recommended to receive a $1,600 payment. And then finally, for those employees who don't fall into either the public works field or public works operations group or the public safety group, I'm recommending a one-time payment of $1,200. And again, all part-time employees would receive $500. In order to qualify, the individual must have been employed with the city before November 1st, 2020, and must currently be in a working or a paid leave status. And unless there are questions, I'm happy to respond to questions that you may have.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Hamp? Okay. With that, do we have a motion to introduce this ordinance to appropriate funds for the hazard pay and bonus pay for the city employees?
I'll move to introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Do we have a second?
Second,
I will second it.
third.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry, for the second. We have a motion to and a second. Is there any discussion on this?
I would just offer, Mr. Mayor, I think it's an excellent use of the funds. Very much earned and deserved for our hardworking employees. I know we tried, absent a pandemic, had really set the stage to start turning the corner on compensation, and so very appreciative of this opportunity to provide meaningful benefit to our employees.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All right, we've got a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any
This is just
opposed? Yes, ma'am?
I thought we were just introducing the ordinance. This is a to read. Is it not?
No, you're right. We've got a first and second. The rest of the ordinance will be read on December 14th. Thank you, Ms. Michelson. I jumped ahead.
We were just excited, so it's
Yeah, no.
Well, I wasn't quite sure where you were headed with that, but we typically do introduce in second and have discussion. And so I don't know if we had gotten to that point, but thanks for the clarification. Okay.
Yeah, she did a good thing there for me.
All right.
All right, item number 10 is to consider introducing an ordinance appropriating a portion of net position in the amount of $170,276 from the refuse fund to purchase a refuse collection truck. Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, the Refuse Division is requesting funds to purchase this truck to replace a vehicle that was purchased in 2011 and has logged about 100,000 miles since, and has incurred about $35,000 in repair costs since 2017. We had originally programmed to purchase a knuckle boom truck this year, but the current demand for standard residential waste collection has been extremely high since March of this year. And the refuse collection staff believes this would be a more prudent purchase. So the funds for purchase are currently in the retained earnings of the refuse fund. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Shaw?
Jim, just one question would be, what does that prospect do for the knuckle boom truck? Because I know that one of the reasons why it had kind of made its way onto the list was we were having some operational issues with that asset as well, as I recall. Just sort of, what do you think that does to the timeline and the like? I mean, I certainly support it, but I think just for those that may have been following.
I think we've programmed the knuckle boom truck to be purchased in FY 2022, so in the upcoming budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to introduce this ordinance?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Dr. Hosstetter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there any discussion? All right, this ordinance will carry over to our December 14th meeting. Brings us to item number 11, which is communications, correspondence, and calendar. Mr. Ham.
Yes, sir. I have several items this evening. The first being the item that I alerted you to earlier related to the public-private partnership that exists between Stanton, Augusta County, Waynesboro, Augusta Health, And then a number of important and community service and human service agencies in the area. This group organized early in the onset of the pandemic and public health crisis that we had, and have worked to respond to various needs in the community, whether it's most of them attempting to ensure that the most vulnerable individuals, and in some cases businesses, receive some attention and care and assistance as resources and time allow. Most recently, with the surge of cases in the region, Commonwealth, and nation for that matter, the group believes that public information and messaging around those activities and responsible actions that we as individuals can take to tamp down the spread is an important mission and activity for the group to embrace. And part of that embracing effort involves an effort to go to each of the three local government jurisdictions, Stanton, Augusta County, and Waynesboro, and have the elected bodies consider a resolution in affirming certain principles and lending their support to the cause. And if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'll very quickly read through the proposed resolution and respectfully ask your consideration. And then this resolution, or the contents of this resolution, would be a cornerstone for an ongoing public education effort in the region, funded and constructed largely by the Department of Health, but supported by the local governments and those the agencies that participate in the partnership. If you'll give me 1 second here. So the Stanton, Augusta County, and Waynesboro communities are committed to the health and well-being of the region. We recognize that we can do more to assure the safety of our communities by working together. These are our commitments to protect and support our community. We will protect the health of our community by encouraging mask wearing, social distancing, frequent hand washing, and staying away from public areas when we are not feeling well. We will follow public health guidelines and medical recommendations, including testing, self-isolation, and quarantine as needed. We will support people who are taking care of themselves and loved ones if they are sick or exposed. We will support and avoid contact with those who are sick, as well as stay home and avoid public areas when we are not feeling well. We will support the mental well-being of all community members. We will share all relevant public health information regarding testing and safety to ensure the health and well-being of the community. So I hope it's evident from that this is, the organization is not seeking financial support. They're simply trying to unify and rally community partners and local governments to step up efforts to communicate and inform the public as to how to stay safe and reduce transmission of COVID-19.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Do we have a motion to accept the Saw Public-Private Partnership Stay Well Saw resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 11 carries 5-0. Thank you all.
So I have an additional item. If the council would receive a respectful request to cancel the scheduled 12/28 regular business meeting and perhaps consider other changes to work calendars and holiday schedules as you may be moved to do so.
Okay. Do we have a motion to cancel our December 28th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Canceling our 12/28 meeting carries 5-0. Is there any other matters, Mr. Hamp?
Yeah, do we want to consider an additional day off around the Christmas holiday this year?
I talked to council members individually today, and I think we could probably, do we need to make this an motion form?
I think it would be beneficial to do that. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, to give city employees the day before Christmas, December 24th, do I have a motion to approve extending an extra day off to city employees on December 24th?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Dr. Hofstetter. Is there any discussion?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
What's that cost to the taxpayers?
So the additional cost of that is depending on schedules and vacancy rates runs between $20,000 and $40,000 a year. Now, I will say that as it's become council's tradition, or at least we have several consecutive years of the granting of the additional holiday, the funds sufficient to cover the holiday have been included in the budget. That those once those expenditures occur, they're captured in our general ledger, and then they populate the payroll recommendations for the following year. So there's no additional cost, but let me restate that, Mr. Allen. There's no need to appropriate additional money to cover the cost, and the cost of providing the additional holiday runs between $20,000 and $40,000.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, the motion carries 4-1. And then lastly, item number 12 is closed meeting. We don't have any closed meeting scheduled. So item number 13, we're going to go to citizen comment period. And I will open the floor up here after I scroll to the top here and get this number. If you want to participate in citizen comment period, you can call 844-844-900. Prompted, you'll enter the code 398145 followed by the pound sign. You'll hear Q&A session has started. Press the star followed by the number 6. You will hear, if you would like to speak, press 1. At that time, press 1. You will enter the meeting room. You will hear an audio feed of the meeting. Wait until you're prompted by the moderator, and then you can share your thoughts. Like I said before, we're here to listen to your thoughts. We will not comment to your thoughts tonight. It's simply a listening session for council, and we can get in touch with you at a later time. That said, citizen comment is open. Do we have any callers?
No, sir, we do not.
No callers, okay. So that will bring me to item number 14, which is to accept a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Thank you all very much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy
Everybody have a
Thank
good
you.
Thanksgiving. Thank you.